what's left of the ropes I know, and I'm holding on too tight.
Okay, so today we met to have a conversation between different kind of artists. We have Damien Flynn.
There is one.
Maybe you want to start again.
No, I think there is another Damien.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay,
So
so we
it's not this one. It's you.
It's great. Hi, Damien.
so we have Damien Flynn here, a musician from actually Ireland, but being based in Berlin now, and
Yes.
in other places.
Yeah. Porto and Berlin.
Okay, yeah. Okay, and we have Eva Lara here, who is an artist, what we call in German ein Lebenskünstler, an artist of how to connect with your heart and live from that space. Yeah?
In Würzburg.
Yes,
Yeah,
in
based
Würzburg.
in Würzburg at the moment.
Exactly. So we were just thinking to have a little conversation how we connect to our heart and why it's so important. And so I wanted to ask you, Damien, in your music, what's happening for you when you make music? What's different from other tasks you're doing in life?
Yeah, it's completely different. It's not a task for one. So if I'm making music, my normal thing is I'm playing an acoustic guitar, and I'll pick up that guitar a lot during every day. Just be there with it. And it's not a task. It's not to see if something happens either. Sometimes something is just happening.
Yeah.
So
So it's more like a mystical experience of what's appearing, or
when things really come, yeah, it's very free from somewhere.
yeah.
And it can be melody and words. Sometimes it's just some melody on the guitar.
Yeah. Nice.
Yeah, it's very free.
And can you say like if there's a difference in other things you're doing? Like for example, I don't know, things you actually call a task? Like, is there a difference within you?
I think there really has been, yeah. Like the things I do for work, I guess like you were saying earlier, so that there's things we've learned to do that become of value for money. So I have done a lot of graphics actually also.
Oh yeah.
And it's moved into other things, but yeah, they were always tasks that were maybe taking my time out. And I wasn't giving the right energy to those either.
But I mean, like I don't know if it's possible, but if you are like feeling within you, like is there a difference as in this feels like a task and this feels like music? I don't know what the word for this is now, but you know, like can you describe how different it's within you, like the task?
Freedom of music and the other things.
Is it?
I guess my life is not full of responsibilities and tasks. I guess I'm making a way that isn't really happening. So the only thing I can think of is work. I'm trying to earn money with things I'm not too in love with. But recently I was able to give those a really clear energy, be free with it, and my work is better for it as well.
Like the task.
It is
work
interesting that it is different.
Yeah.
or the music.
I tried to make it not a task. I didn't try to. I kind of let go of it being a task
Yeah.
and accepted that I really wanted to do it. And much better work came from that too.
Yeah. So
And it was way better.
And it's part of it.
And then I was also able to do what was the task, the work. And I had loads of music and creativity coming in the same hours, at the same time, the same day.
Since you were not like against doing this.
I've been against it and I've been thinking it's all very separate and it's hard. But on a deeper level I know that it's all there. I never want to close myself away. I want to have life and I want to have inspiration.
Yeah.
Because when I'm writing it's about things. If I have no experience of things, I won't be able to communicate on it.
That's a good point.
I mean, sometimes I just want to communicate something that's an inner thing.
Yeah.
And then some people can connect with that.
Yeah.
But I often feel like writing about other things. So I need experience of those. Yeah.
Maybe we speak a little bit louder.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fine.
This is Damien!
Flynn. For me, it is also a little bit like there is a certain way of self-care, doing things you have to do, even like instead of like, as you said, being against doing it because it's not so much fun, or but self-care in that way that you are like for example, have to do it to get money from it, and this gives you security, and security also gives you freedom. Again, you know, like or security in forms of I can afford to have food or something, and like this connection for me came when I since I'm doing many journeys to my inner child to connect with the inner child and give this child like healing and love and things like that. I saw that I'm kind of with doing things I'm not so passionate about, but I get money from it. I'm caring for that inner child because this is also my responsibility now. Like you have children, you know, like you have to do things to look out for them, and this is the same within ourselves, you know, like do things to look out for ourselves, and that's self-love and self-care again, you know. Even though at first you think, oh, this is only self-care is things I love to do, like from the first time.
Yeah. This is true. And it's like you say, they say you can also clean the toilets with love. And when you do that, it's actually a very different experience. Because, you know, for example, on a retreat, I used to do this in Soxhambara in Ireland. And I was a volunteer and I was doing the toilets. And I'm thinking, okay, if all these people came into the toilet and it was messy, what an experience is that? And now they come into this clean, good smelling toilet room. And then
being on service.
And you get so much energy from not being in resistance but doing it with love, that you have all this energy, and maybe then we have time to do our artistic stuff because we're so energized.
Exactly, because we haven't been blocking the whole time while being physically active. Because the things are the same.
Just goes way easier.
Yeah.
True.
And you'll do it better, whatever that thing is.
And it creates
You're more
joy
free.
for everybody. And maybe it's about, because there's this whole movement since a few years, follow your bliss. And it can create such a pressure, like you are, as if, like I've thought, I'm such a failure because I don't follow my bliss all the time, and I don't make this mega amount of money from doing my bliss. But then there is this, like you say, I think this is a really good point, that you do it in a natural, organic way, that you look after the needs of the child, the inner child, and the safety, and that everything is provided. And then you make room for the other thing that you love, like that is your innate desire, passion that you're born with, that you create room from that, but you have a foundation and not hang totally in the air and like, you know.
Because we live in a society, and that, like you're saying, that gives you freedom, because without those things, without food, the ability to have some shelter, which is what it comes down to, you end up choiceless in our society. There's no freedom in that anymore. So you need to keep the freedom open by taking care of those things. Yourself.
And how can you describe how life was for you before you turned inward to your heart, and how did it actually happen that you connect with your inner child so much now, and guiding people into connecting with their center?
Well, I always, for a long time, had problems with making decisions, for example. And read all these books, like there was one, it was for the Shaolin monks, and they had to make decisions within 3 minutes, otherwise they get in a fight or something. You know, and I found this so amazing, like how? And this was like, this is one step on the path, but I don't know why it comes up to my mind now. It's like, you really know instantly, you really know, but then you had to make stories about it, and you're so I had problems with making decisions before, for sure. I had problems with knowing what I even want, like, because I felt like I had different talents, so I could do this or that, and I just didn't know what was right. And I always thought there's something right, like something right to do, and I have to find the right way and the right decision. And also I was just spread with all my energy everywhere. Like, now I know that I was just avoiding a lot of things I did not want to see, so there was a lot of energy going there. But back then I was just also really exhausted, playing a role of being super happy all the time, and also playing this role within myself, not just with others. Like I played it so good that I really believed in it. Like I was like this happy, shiny version of human or of woman or something. So I believed it myself. And even when I was home, I just now, maybe because you are here, I have a picture of me being, when I lived in Portugal, like in this room, being actually really sad, but I distracted, not looking at it. Because and then I just had no energy anymore, so I came back from Portugal to Germany and I was completely exhausted from not being knowing anything which was inside of me, being really out in the external world, exactly. And then I had to come back to Germany and I was not happy about this. I really wanted to be in Portugal, but I couldn't. So I really wanted to distract myself, but I couldn't. Translate it now. And just really sad. Like I was here and then I was actually looking at myself, being very sad. And then I somehow heard of a monastery close by. So I called them and I realized this was a step I had to do now, because by myself I just didn't know how, maybe. So I called them and I said I have to come as soon as possible, for as long as possible. And they were like, okay, come. So I came. To shorten up the story now. Benedictushof, yeah. So I was there for some weeks and I figured out what it actually means to look inside, and it wasn't such a super easy journey for the first days. We were talking about also because I really did not want to stay there. I found it horrible for the first days. And then Damien said like after 10 days or something it just stopped the contact, and there was no contact anymore, and she was like, okay, either she killed herself or she is okay with it now being there. And this is how it was, like I was okay with it.
Went on an inner journey.
It came to an inner journey, and and this is also when the inner child came to me actually. So it came to me a few times, and there's so much healing needed. And and then one came to another, of course, and things have changed for me. Like I always describe it like this one day at the monastery, maybe it was like day 10 then or something. I came out of the meditation and it felt brighter, like the world felt a little bit brighter. And it's still like that, it's still a little bit brighter, like maybe I just have energy to look at it now, I don't know. But not as in I pretend that I'm bright. And also when there's sadness or whatever, see, is it mine or is it the inner child having it just doesn't feel seen or something, and can I connect with it instead of pretending it's not sad or finding someone else to give them a attention. It makes me very it gives me power or energy. So I want to share this.
Nice. It's so precious, I think. Thank you.
This is maybe the inner child saying thank you.
Thank you.
No, it really is. I see that it's important.
And it's actually, when you were talking, I got a bit, how to say, not teary, but moved. Like this is so in all of us, this inner child.
Thing.
And it's neglected most of the time.
And it's not just the inner child. There are also versions in adulthood you don't want to see. And push them away. But actually this version also wants your attention because it's still lacking for it to be seen from yourself.
Oh yeah, maybe the teenage times, for example. Felt really lost as a teenager.
I had a client 2 days ago, and she was just so there was a really big phase of weakness when she was like divorced and was alone with her child, and but there was so much pressure from her now that she was not allowed to be weak.
Like you mentioned earlier about not realizing that you were playing a role, and I think people who haven't looked inside, they're not even looking to find that out. Like maybe they can see somebody else is playing a role because it's more superficial, but sometimes it's so deeply set from a teenage or a child, and you don't realize yourself.
Exactly, and you forget.
And that creates
actually.
a lot of
Yeah.
blocks.
Yeah, it's true. It's sometimes when I, for example, go somewhere to a therapy session or something, and I'm driving, so like, I'm fine. What's the problem? And then I'm sitting there, and if it's somebody who's really present, and I'm sitting there, and in that moment, whoa, you know, then I notice, oh my God, I'm so pressing it down all the time that I don't, during the day, don't even feel that there's something needs attention. And because it's painful, because it's really uncomfortable sometimes to even accept or even receive that somebody is really present with you. And then sometimes I'm feeling, oh God, I can't receive this, and you know, and then I would, no, I'm fine. And to learn to just that people show each other in their vulnerability. I think this
It's
is
beautiful, yes, pure.
Yeah.
It's actually all the self wants, like be seen as it is, you know?
And not to be judged when it's angry, because then knowing this is anger coming up now, it's not you are not an angry person, it's just anger coming up, and I'm like seeing for who you truly are, and let's look at it.
Yeah,
not so easy.
Yeah, that's
not so easy, yeah. But I sometimes compare it to like when you are I often get this picture of, like, for example, him being a king or you being a queen, you know, and the king and the queen, they are not scared of looking at their emotions, you know, and they don't, if there's a day of weakness or an hour of weakness or a week of weakness or sadness or what, anger, they are not scared to go there. It's not that the queen is weak now. It is actually strength to allow the sadness for now.
Create space for it. True. And like when we do, for example, a music or drawing or meditation, this is actually when we don't have somebody in front of us. Also, I find a great way to, sometimes when I'm really sad and I'm making a drawing or even frustrated or angry or anything, and I'm drawing, it's almost like I'm drawing myself home to myself. And then and then suddenly there is a space again, and I'm not locked up in that emotion anymore, and something has shifted. And it's like,
not holding on to it anymore, so you can let it out on paper.
And then it's peaceful, and it's almost like, because you can a little bit, sometimes it's so scary to meet your emotions when you are alone, and then when you just make some one line after the other without being able to express something artistically, just one line, you have something to hold on to while you feel everything. So, you know, just gently draw it out and give it space.
Well, it's probably with music the same, no?
That resonates very strongly. Not with playing all of the time, but if there's a song coming, or if there's something coming. Like the moment when that feels to me like the melody of the guitar is my holding point, and then something can come, which is more than that and part of that at the same time. And then that allows me to, because I'm also writing lyrics, or my mind is translating something into words, that's another release as well. So the melody is kind of holding space, and then something else can come.
So it's like a transformation of what you think maybe is poison, for example, anger, sadness, and you don't want it. But then by feeling it and maybe starting to express it, suddenly you turn it into like a peacock turning poison into his beautiful feathers. Suddenly you have this amazing song that touches people's hearts, and they need it maybe to process their own emotions. Or it helps them.
Yeah, that's for them, but there's a hope for that. So,
And also,
but that's for me. Music is that also, and art is that, and books and literature. Creative things, insights.
not just, I mean, this healing part, like you have other people to heal. It's like this beautiful one thing, right? But the other one is just that you give them a chance with art or music to experience whatever that there comes, right? It doesn't have to be for healing, just for the experience also. And it's like just such a beautiful thing we as human can create.
Or even longing, like when I heard that song of yours that I had to look into, I was like, Ireland.
It brought that back. So somehow this is so I left Ireland on my 14th birthday, so really I was there until I was 13, and yet people still feel Ireland in my music, because as a child I just somehow imbued all of that already.
Totally.
Really interesting.
there is this Irish soul in it, kind of, melancholic but open-minded, vastness, many things.
I think that's, especially between the south of England and Ireland, I found the cultural difference vast in that respect, and now I can appreciate more some parts of what it was. But there's a real allowance to do that in Irish culture. Like singing is part of something. I'm not sure people realise how fundamental singing can be of expressing something. It's really yourself. Your physical self is allowed to do something, and that's coming out. And it's socially acceptable on whatever level that is. There isn't the need to be incredible. Like everyone knows, in Irish culture, there's kind of the storytelling or the emotional feed is the important thing. Not that you have the voice type that's popular in this current culture or should be in, you're not an opera singer or necessarily a baritone or like pub singing is really someone can have a terrible voice but they're communicating so strongly and that's really allowed in that culture and encouraged.
Oh, nice.
So it can be anybody in the room. I know, like being in a pub in Ireland, there's going to be music but actually you don't know who the musicians are, and then the instruments are under the table and they're there or they're there. Like it's not really a stage, and there is that of course as well, but the older communal version of folk music is just sharing. And it can be anybody.
Beautiful.
And the person who never sang before sings on this evening. It's really free.
So beautiful.
This reminds me actually, and seeing some parallels also to what we are doing. For example, there used to be this long time about guru type thing. If you were meditating or you had some glimpses of the nature of your mind when you were sitting in satsang, then either you become a guru and people follow you, and you're not allowed to show your weakness because then they think, he's just still human or she's still human. And now it's this like meeting with people and sitting together and exploring the inner child and sitting in satsang, but you are part of the group and it's more of a sharing now, but you're like a guardian or guiding people, but you don't have to squeeze yourself into a role of something better. And the same with art, why I didn't draw for a long time, is this pressure of having to be a famous, special artist with a huge message for the world. So then I never even picked up the pen. And now this is what I want to also do with this channel more, that people start also just draw. And I mean, it's happening in schools, but still there's this art scene, and it's very sophisticated and it's hard to get in and then there's people just wanting to express themselves. And I feel those two can mingle more, and in music as well, and in spirituality, meditation. And it's happening, I feel. So many people are connecting and doing it.
Beautiful, I think the difference is really that the one thing is like, where the source is. Am I doing it for the others, or am I doing it for myself? And then share it with others, because for me it's special, or it connects my heart. Maybe, I want to share it.
Both valid, huh?
But like for example, the example with the guru, what you were just saying, like this sounded like they are doing it for attention from others, or like the art, like painting for being, as you said, you couldn't draw because of your big picture,
that
right?
was the ego.
I want them to see how good I am.
Exactly. It's from a different place.
It's a different source where it comes from.
This is actually very important to point out. Because as I told you earlier, that I only started to be able to do it what my heart was longing when I didn't have time, because I got twins and I was a busy mom, and then I suddenly didn't have time to think about my great message for the world, and I just needed to draw because I wanted to do something else, and it brought me home to myself, and suddenly it was pure joy, and I feel like people felt that, and then I was going out with it, and it was all totally different when it came from that place of playfulness and not insisting on any outcome and agenda. Actually, otherwise before it was an agenda.
You're trying to edit something before the initiation of the spark is there.
Exactly.
It's just suppressing it. To be as honest to that as you can be. I think whether it translates or not, the important thing is to be honest to it in the first instance.
Nice. So we could also do. Okay, so now what we're going to do is that Eva Lara is guiding us into a heart meditation, possibly in a child, or we'll see what's happening.
Oh, also possible.
Whatever is coming.
We will see.
And then you're welcome to join us. And after that, it's great if you have a piece of paper ready or a pen or even some watercolors, but you don't have to. You can just press the pause button now and get something. And then we will draw straight from that space that is created by going into our hearts and see what happens. And we are drawing judgment-free, so it doesn't have to be a great artistic piece that is going to be in the next museum. MoMA. No, it's just from your heart, so you actually gain access to your creativity. You might feel a bit blocked in this area, and you also don't have to want to become an artist or something, a painter. It's just really, as soon as you learn to draw and be with your emotions, you gain access to that inner vast space of creativity that is within you, and it might come out in different areas in your life as a result of that.
Beautiful.
Okay.
All right, so then find a seat you are comfortable with right now and close your eyes, and then try to move your focus inside your body. Maybe you do a little check, like, is this position I'm in comfortable? Otherwise you make a little move. Just what you feel like right now. And then allow your breath to be just natural, flowing from your nose until the bottom of your belly, and back out again. And try to focus on your breath for a moment. And if your mind is taking you somewhere, this thought later or before, come back to your breath for this moment. Try to stay connected with this present moment. And then focus on your heart, on the area of your chest. Realize that you can only focus here, be in touch here when you are in the present moment. Maybe you allow yourself to be touched, to be in contact with this area. Allow this feeling to be touched, that you are in contact with you here, this moment. You're in touch with yourself. If it's easier, maybe you want to lay your hand on your heart also and just focus. And while focusing on this area in your heart, in your chest, notice how your breath goes through here. And notice with every breathing out, your area of your heart is getting wider, more free. Stay here for a moment. And then ask to the area of your heart, how do I feel at this moment? How do I feel right now? How do I actually feel now if I'm very honest with myself and listen? Allow anything to be said. It can be I'm bored or I'm nervous, I'm very relaxed, I'm happy. Whatever there is, just notice, without judging this for now, just notice. And then allow this feeling that everything which is needed from yourself is just being there. Just allow yourself to listen. Feel the gratitude that you are listening here, you are here now. And then focus on the thought to become creative, to start a creative process in a moment. And see what's coming up there. What does it mean to be creative for yourself? Are there any thoughts coming up like, I can't do this, don't know how to start, am I good enough to do this? It's here. Then try to allow the thought Sylvia was saying earlier, that there is nothing to be achieved with creativity. It doesn't have to be anything to come out of it for this moment. You go one step further and try to realize whatever is coming out in this process is already perfect. It is already perfect. Whatever feeling there is or was, maybe it was anger, sadness, happiness, boringness, whatever there is, allow yourself for this to be perfect. It's fine. It doesn't have to be changed. Before you open your eyes now, try to stay in this connection. Try to stay connected within the field of feelings, of emotions within you. And then grab your pen or pencil or whatever you want. Open your eyes and within this connection, get your creativity process started. Nothing can go wrong. everything shall be different as it is right now. If you are not allowing your heart to block, but you stay in this wideness of your breath going through, what wants to be expressed here? You're not doing it for anyone else, just do it, not even for yourself, just do it for the moment of creating something on paper now. Not to achieve anything, no picture, no painting, no artwork, just doing it for the moment of expression. And in your time, in your rhythm, open your eyes and let it flow.
This grain of sand is sure to hold. It's all that's left of the ropes I know, and I'm holding on too tight. I know when all is turned too quick below, and the sea of hope collides in this breeze of never mind. Oh, the sea of hope collides on that breeze of never mind. Will you come around, darling, with your eyes so wide and clear? Will you tell me the words I need to hear? Well, I've been told all the rocks are blind and that love is hard to find, but I am lying here just dying to change my mind. I've been told all the rocks are blind and that love is hard to find, but I am lying here just dying to change my mind. For the birds, for the wind, for the world.
How is it for you so far? How does it feel?
It's just interesting. Different things flowing at different moments. And, yeah, it's a very new process.
Does it shows when you just let the lines flow? What ideas come up for other areas in your life, like
Yeah.
projects or?
Really true, yeah.
Really true. And interesting just observing what's coming to you.
Yeah.
Even in terms of colour or what you
Yeah.
choice. Yeah, and a difference between when you initially asked us to access the heart and see what was there, then
What
it comes.
actually
Sometimes it starts, but then it changes very quickly, or then I go back there.
And also just allowing that it's like not stick to one, but then just go with the flow,
Yeah.
let it flow.
Like even observing that emotion or that feeling and showing some care for it, it's more free already, and you can see other things.
Yeah. because you showed some care for it. Then
Possibly.
it's free to move. It doesn't need to stay stuck and knock on the door all the time.
Yeah, yeah. But when you're suppressing it, it's just
Yeah.
it's there.
Yeah, true. Or when you're angry, you can actually.
Yeah.
That's a beautiful expression.
Yeah.
Nice.
Didn't think about it though.
Yeah, that's good.
I mean, really, you've come to drawing in a way a lot.
Yeah, it's
True,
true.
This style,
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
You want to show it?
Yeah.
Remember where that came
Nice.
from?
The camera.
In terms of, did henna come, do you think, from a desire to express some art, or not? Not sure.
Well, it is kind of like meditation for me, like when I'm doing the henna, because it's like you have to stand so still, and it's like meditating with someone else, you know. Like, can I just hold your hand for a moment? Like when I'm also with children or something, you know, like they have to stand still, and then you do this, and it's like a nice way of connecting.
Yeah,
So yeah, could also be like maybe some have this experience when they massage someone or something, right? Like just being still, and you are creating a space, and it's like a bubble a little bit when I'm doing the henna with someone. Yeah.
But actually, I've only observed you doing it with yourself, and it
Yeah.
seems similar.
Like a bubble, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's nice. Yeah.
And just when you did that, I can imagine it's a really nice experience to that your hand is being held by somebody who's present.
Yeah. Or sometimes, like I don't do this so much actually, but sometimes with like bellies with pregnant women is also really beautiful.
That's nice. I had that in Ireland. A few women were coloring it with lots of this. Such a nice experience. I felt so loved.
Exactly.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Exactly. That's it.
Yeah.
Felt love, feel seen,
Yeah.
and
And all the good wishes in the room.
Yeah.
and the highest, or like the fundament of how you call it, is always, I think, that you as the perceiver giving yourself the space to experience that, like your drawing, for example, you know.
Yeah. Like when you receive it,
Yeah.
that you allow to receive
Receiver.
the goodness
Yeah,
of
exactly.
life and
Exactly,
Yeah,
or
yeah.
take time for something like this,
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
or someone can do you something good.
yeah. Nice. And you just go intuitively, like really nice.
Yeah, it's a little bit like this with this one, right?
Yeah.
It's like a pace, and then
Yeah.
it falls off.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's fun.
Nice. So thank you for doing this with me. How nice.
Thank you so
Yeah,
much.
thank you.
Pleasure.
Great, and thanks for the meditation to
Yeah.
the heart,
Yeah.
and for sharing your music experience.
Of course.
And it was nice happening so spontaneously. Are you doing this?
Yeah.
Happening.
Yeah, really nice. Yeah, why not?
Yeah.
Go with the flow.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's great. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you. You're welcome.
Yeah, it was nice, this experience also, right? Drawing for once, like
Yeah, it's
with colors
interesting.
and stuff.
Yeah, I need to do it.
For the bird, for the wind, for the world. This taste of life is good to know, and it shines a light on all we've been told. And we start apart in this world of gold, and this time the storm brings new sea for old. But the seas of hope collide in this breeze. never mind. Don't let the seas of hope collide on that breeze. Oh, never mind. Will you come around, darling, with your eyes so wide and clear? Will you say the words that I need to hear? I've been told all the rocks are blind and that love is hard to find, but I'm lying here just dying to change my mind. We've been told all the rocks are blind and that love is hard to find, but we are lying here just dying to change our mind. Will you come around, darling, with your eyes so wide and clear? Will you say the words that I long to hear? I've been told all the rocks are blind and that love is hard to find, but as I'm lying here, I'm dying to change my mind for the birds. For the wind. Mm-hmm.